shall be concluding the first part of this topic series today. In the first part, we looked at the juxtaposition of the law and morality in Nigeria's political scene, especially in the build-up and aftermath of the 2023 elections and decisions of the election petition tribunals vis-à-vis cases of forgery of documents presented to INEC. We singled out the cases of Governor Aliyu Ahmed of Sokoto State and Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State as candidates who have presented forged documents to INEC before the elections. At the end of the governorship election petition tribunal hearings in both states, the tribunals dismissed the petitions of the petitioners and affirmed the elections of the governor. Many analysts hailed the judgments, even where the posture of the tribunals stopped short of openly endorsing forgery, a case of the triumph of technicalities. Just before the close of the case at the Presidential Election Petitions Court that sat in Abuja, ex-Nigerian VP Atiku Abubakar had filed an application before the court in Chicago, seeking, in the main, the release by the Chicago State University, CSU, of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's enrolling and study documents and certificates under deposition. Atiku's contention, put simply, was that the CSU certificate presented to INEC by Tinubu was forged. The application was for CSU under deposition to present the requested documents and speak to them under oath. The president's legal team has sought to block the release and therefore applied for a stay before another court in Chicago, citing that irreparable damage will be done to Tinubu if the records were released by CSU. The application for stay failed and the records were released by the university. One fact stood out, which is that the CSU certificate presented to INEC by President Bola Tinubu was not issued by CSU. In simple language, it was forged. Following the release, Nigerians became polarized as far as the North Pole is to the south. Many saw the deposition and testimony by CSU officials as a confirmation of the long-held view that Tinubu is a master in cutting corners and was not fit for the exalted office of Nigerian presidency. To them, Tinubu remains a forger and utterer, a characteristic trait of his. Others saw the noise by his critics as a storm in a teacup, citing the fact that, after all, the president was a graduate of the university. To them, there was no issue of forgery. Neither was there any reason for the president to resign. As expected, the arguments dovetailed to personalized vituperations and took on ethnic and religious colorations. As the reactions and counter-reactions took on an international dimension, the appeal against the decision of the President Election Petition Court was filed at the Supreme Court by the aggrieved parties. Atiku Abubakar of PDP, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and the APM. Atiku seeks the admission of the deposition of CSU as fresh evidence at the Supreme Court. This prayer added more steam to the arguments, and both lawyers and non-lawyers have weighed in on the matter, while the presidency was not left out of the war of influencing public opinions. The effort of supporters of the president is to let everyone else see the issue as an entirely legal thing. Being that the courts have been captured, nothing else will matter except what the Supreme Court has to say at the end. In other words, there is no morality in this issue. There is no middle ground. It is law, not right or wrong, not what the facts are. And that is the crux of the matter, which is that elderly, educated, and otherwise noble men see nothing disgusting in sitting on national television and approving what should ordinarily be condemned. Men who the younger generation should ordinarily look up to now rationalize forgery and criminality on the basis of law and legalism. Now, do you still remember the Toronto saga? In the year 2000, Salisu Buhari, then Speaker of the House of Reps, was pressured to resign as Speaker because it was discovered, and he admitted that he had falsified his age and educational qualification by claiming that he obtained a bachelor's degree from Toronto University. whereas it was a diploma that he had. In resigning, Salisu apologized to Nigerians and regretted his despicable action. In so doing, Mr. Buhari had in mind a future that his actions could shape beyond his personal ambitions and quest for power. He was mindful of a legacy and the younger generation. He might not have resigned, but he did. Today, it's a different kettle of fish altogether. Cases of criminality, and in this context, forgery by elected officials is excused and vehemently defended by elderly people. In fact, it is so bad that the indicted officials go to court claiming damages for injury to their reputation like Peter Mbah did. Pray, which reputation? But that is the level Nigeria has descended to. It is the Emiloko philosophy and brand of politics. John Cardinal Onayekon, Bishop Emeritus of Abuja, said recently, quote, "We should refuse to agree that this is a country where certificates are forged and it is okay." End of quote. The undue resort to law and legalism will soon pull the rug from under our feet as a nation. Law is good for order, stability, and predictability of actions. However, we must not be slaves to the law. Before the law, there was an innate understanding of moral rights and wrongs. Law is basically a codified product of moral rights and wrongs, mixed with rules for application. Where the rules now trump the spirit of the law as in technicalities, what we have left is legalism, slavishness to forms, judgment but no justice. Let all men of goodwill rise up to save our nation from imminent disintegration caused by impunity, disregard for law, failure of morality, support for everything wrong, and slavish bondage to law. Follow us on all our social media handles. Like, comment, and share. My name is Ben Abraham, and this is Criminal Justice Focus. Thank you.